It's really expensive to go to the range. Don't you hate it when you gotta go to the range, buy their ammo, put your gun in the trunk, put the ammo in a separate box, and then pay for the privilege of shooting in a place with a bunch of other people after you've waited for 30 minutes in line just for the opportunity to do so?
Plus, they can charge as much as they want for the targets. Oh, I absolutely despise going to the range for those reasons. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, man, it sucks.
Yeah, I totally agree. But it's also really fun to go to the range itself because, well, who doesn't like shooting guns? People who haven't shot guns, that's who doesn't like shooting guns.
Very true. Another thing is how incredibly expensive it is to try out a bunch of guns if you haven't already done that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
If you don't bring your own guns and you want to try 5 or 6 guns, they might charge you $30 a pop.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't know. Some of the places I've been to, they just let you try out whatever you want. And as long as you give the other one back, you're good.
I guess that all depends, doesn't it? So today we're taking a look at a game that looks like it's a range game.
Hey guys, I'm CryptoSpook, and this is Range Day VR.
And this is Moriarty, and you know what? I already like the idea, but is it a good implementation?
It's not a bad implementation. There's a lot of good things about it, but at the same time, there's also a lot of things that need some work. For instance, the targets don't clear properly once you hit the clear button on them. You have to hit it a couple times. There's some issues with holding the guns. Sometimes your hand goes through the gun itself. So, you know, the way you would hold like an M16 or something like that, you would just grab it around the grip. If the gun has a forward grip, which some of them do, you can't even grab the forward grip. It makes you grab the barrel, and then it sticks the barrel in front of the gun, or your hand in front of the front sight, so you can't even see what you're trying to shoot at.
That's very strange.
Yeah, it's super strange. And then there's also some issues where maybe things don't quite spawn correctly and they just drop off the table. Not a good time. I did notice, like, sometimes if you would pick a different setting on the gun and try to shoot it, like, and you change the magazine, some of the guns don't act exactly perfect the way they should. For instance, there's a button on the M16 or the M4 that you can lock the bolt to the rear when you pull the charging handle back. You can't do that in this game, unfortunately. But, I mean, and it also the bolt doesn't stay locked back after you empty a magazine. And I know that doesn't sound weird, but that is very weird because when you empty the magazine on an M4, it always is supposed to stay open. And then you put the next one in and you drop the bolt carrier group forward and it loads the next round. Some of the engagement points on some of the weapons were also really wonky.
I can see how wonky they are. I can see
like
how
I'm trying to pull the charging handle and it's like, no.
Yeah, and you're hitting the rear sight instead. It's definitely a little bit wonky, but did you enjoy it? I mean, you played it for quite a while.
I did. I put quite a bit of time into this, mainly because I'm kind of a gun nut. I mean, I'm not a gun nut. I like weapons, of course. What man doesn't? And I just wanted to see the accuracy of it and see what they got right and what they got wrong, because a lot of these weapons are standard issue military weapons that I've used before.
And how did they do? How would you rate them?
I would probably give them about a 78 out of 100.
It's incredibly specific.
Yeah, right? I'd say they did about 80%. How about that? Is that better?
It's a little bit less specific, so 8 out of 10 or otherwise a 4 out of 5. Let's just go ahead and bring that down to what it should be. He gives it a 4 out of 5.
I give him a 4 out of 5. There were some problems, like the fact that on the M4, I couldn't change the rear aperture from wide angle to the correct small angle so that I could shoot it accurately. It was set to the CBR mode, which is the mode that you flip to the larger aperture and you can use it while you're wearing chemical, biological, radiological gear, so you can't get your face close enough when you're wearing that stuff. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That's why you have the larger aperture, and your accuracy will suffer.
As it should.
It's also for low light.
But otherwise, you enjoyed the game?
I thought it was fun. I enjoyed myself quite a bit, and I probably would not have changed it too much. I just would have fixed some of the small inaccuracies. Some very small, tedious inaccuracies, which I'm sure I'm being ridiculous about. But for instance, sometimes you pick up a clip. Oh God, I said it. You pick up a magazine and the bullets are backwards. The rounds are backwards in the magazine. So you have to turn your hand physically around to put the magazine in correctly.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, here's the thing. You say that perhaps you're being ridiculous. I don't think so. Because this is a game about going to the range and playing with cool guns. If they're not getting the cool guns right, that's a problem. So I think it's worth it to say that you went into it and your little nitpicky, stupid argument kind of things. No, they're absolutely the right thing to have a problem with because that's what this game's about. But it also seems like those are the kind of things that can be pretty easily fixed.
So the immediate comparison here is hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that they don't have anything on hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. That is hands down the most realistic weapon simulator that I've seen yet.
Yeah, but it also tends to be a little bit more ridiculous, doesn't it?
No, I mean, it's more realistic. You can spawn in all sorts of different guns, and they're all more accurate to their characteristics because it's developed by one person and because he's been working on that game for over a year at this point. That's his child, I would say.
Yeah, but Triple H is also the type of game where you can stick little American flags on your guns.
See anything wrong with that?
I didn't say it was wrong. I think every gun should come with a little American flag on it. But it's not about that. It's about the fact that is not inherently less ridiculous than you might imagine. Now, Range Day VR is $20.
I would say at $20, it needs quite a bit more polish.
Okay, because the thing is that it really seems to be designed so that you've got, 40, 50, 60 guns. I think there's 40 in the game now, but many more guns eventually. And then multiplayer challenges, what they're planning to do, leaderboards and things like that, and the ability to change day and night cycles and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't sound like they're not trying to do a good job of it. It doesn't sound like Trigger Happy Shooting, for example, the game that was banned on Steam because they were paying for reviews, where it really did feel like they were, instead of spending time and effort trying to make a good game, just making a shitty range game.
No, I can tell you for a fact they've put work into this game. A lot of the mechanics of the weapons are very, very accurate. Like I said, it was just a few things that I was nitpicky about, and I kind of feel bad about it. But at the same time, if you're going to charge $20 for this game, I think you need to be as accurate as possible.
Now, can you guns akimbo?
Yeah, you absolutely can. I just don't particularly like doing that because I would never do it in real life.
No, of course you wouldn't do it in real life. That's why you're in a video game.
Yeah, but you can't shoot two guns accurately. You've
It's
only
not
got
about
one
accurate.
focal point.
It's not about accurate. It's about grabbing two P90s and just laying some waste to barrels.
Yes, you can absolutely do that. However, I don't recommend it because you can't reload two different guns at the same time.
It's a video game. You throw the guns away and grab a different gun.
You can do that too.
That's what I'm saying.
That is the metric to get a new gun, is you throw your current gun on the ground.
So there you go. That at least means it's a fun game. It doesn't necessarily have to be hyper-realistic to be fun.
I do think that they also need to add a little bit of a steadying mechanic into it because, as usual during the shooting game, it seemed like I had palsy.
But we've had that problem with every game that has a rifle in VR. It's not steady enough, and they want to be reactive to your actions. So when you move your hands should move. And if you add too much smoothing, too much steadying effect, there's a good chance that you can move your hands and it doesn't move, especially if you're trying to do micro adjustments with aiming. I agree with steadying, but it's got to be really tough to figure out how to do that in such a way that it doesn't suck.
Yeah, you make a good point there, my friend.
Does it have D-pad movement or just teleportation?
It has only teleportation, but, I mean, how much do you really need to move around? This isn't a game where there's an actual game in it. It's just a shooting range. You're just shooting guns.
Sure. But again, they do plan on doing that eventually. Adding in multiplayer stuff and adding in kind of the rec room but with guns feel, from what I can tell.
Okay. I'd be interested to see that, I suppose. There was just a few things that were nitpicky and odd about how the weapons reacted, you know?
I can dig it. And you know what? Again, I think that being nitpicky is fair because of the type of game that it is. If we're talking about a game where it's all about realism and experiencing things you've never been able to experience, then having an accurate representation of that is kind of important.
Yeah, I would say you're completely correct.
Altogether, though, you kind of enjoyed it. You just think that perhaps it's overpriced.
I did enjoy it. It is overpriced.
All right, that seems fair. Now, if they add in more stuff, how would you feel about it then?
I would really have to see it. At $20, I think the game is a bit too unpolished to recommend at the price.
Well, that seems fair to me. There you go, guys. That is Range Day VR. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. But if you did like it, why don't you watch another one up there in the corner? And as always,
We'll see you on the next one.